You see a lot of mean girls on reality TV. Now there's a new survey out from the Girl Scouts Research Institute which suggests watching those shows is making other girls mean as well.
Michelle Miller takes a look at the impact these reality shows are having on teenagers.
Are you hungry? I served you breakfast in bed.
How many of you watch reality TV?
I think it's funny sometimes.
Are they mean?
Yeah.
To each other. Yeah.
They're very mean to each other.
Teen girls have always liked drama.
I'm just doing what everyone else is saying behind your back.
But a new survey says that girls who regularly watch reality TV expect a higher level of drama and bullying in their daily lives.
Do a lot of your students watch these reality TV shows?
Yes, constantly. You cringe at what they're laughing at or what they think was funny or was okay.
At New York's Facing History High School, assistant principal Mark Otto says reality TV creates a culture in which certain behaviors become more acceptable.
When we look at shows like the Bad Girls Club, my girls talk about that all the time. The meaner you are, the crazier you are, the louder you are, the more excited things are, and the more popularity you have. It's saying that it's humorous as opposed to hurtful, and that's the problem.
Among teen girls, 68% of regular reality TV viewers say that girls are naturally catty and competitive with one another, compared to just 50% of non-viewers.
Reality TV's models are extremely damaging to girls' ability to define their identities in authentic ways.
Cheers!
Girls are encouraged to fight and to not trust one another.
I have scratches everywhere.
Why do you think they like it?
Because they believe it's the closest thing or the closest possibility to them becoming famous.
They are reduced to thinking that reality TV is a stepping stone to something positive, when in fact, a lot of the time, all it is a stepping stone to humiliation and degradation.
Here at this school, you guys have a different approach.
The idea of identity, right? Finding your own identity.
Students at the Facing History School say that reality TV often has the opposite effect on them.
You see these females that portray themselves a certain way, and it's just, to me, it's just saddening. Like, you're a woman that you could be strong, you could be the best of everything, and then you show people the worst part of you.
Most girls surveyed said that watching reality TV can serve as a learning tool and inspired conversations with their parents and friends. Still, experts warn about the risks of confusing reality TV with reality.
For every hour that you see of an average reality show, usually that means that they've shot more than 100 hours of tape. Less than 1% of what's gone on is what you're seeing on screen.
Jimmy's engaged!
Is this real or a joke?
It's a joke.
Michelle Miller, CBS News, New York.
I was watching Julie Ross's reactions here at some of these clips, and her expressions tell 1,000 words. She is the executive director of Parenting Horizons, a parent-teacher education organization.
She's also the author of How to Hug a Porcupine, negotiating the prickly points of the tween years. Nice to have you with us this morning. Jeff mentioned watching the reaction. A lot of people's reactions may have been similar in watching some of those clips.
Right.
Reality TV, though, some people say, you know what, terrible as it is, it can be a great lesson like we saw for those girls at the Facing History High School.
Right. Well, it can be a great lesson, but only if the adults take charge and make it a lesson. So what's happening at the high school is clearly they've got a program in place that's been thought out ahead of time so that they can use it as a teaching tool. Unfortunately, I think a lot of what happens is that these kids are watching it at home. The parents are not around, not watching the same thing, and so the lessons are getting internalized as opposed to talked about in a meaningful way that can cause an opposite reaction to the mean girl syndrome.
The study we're talking about here said that 78% of regular viewers of these shows agreed that gossiping is a normal part of the relationship between girls, compared with only 54% of non-viewers. That's a significant difference. So if you are at home and you're a parent, I mean, what can you do? You just have to be there?
Well, you know, the reality is that if we want to counteract as parents the influence of reality shows or any other television or media on our kids, we have to spend more time with our children than they spend with the TV. And that's a hard thing for parents.
It is a hard thing to working parents. You're trying to make dinner. You say, sure, you can watch a show. So we have to sit there. We have to monitor it. We have to limit, obviously, what they do.
Right.
That's not the only part of the parenting, though, that I know you think is important. You talk about something called being a benevolent monarch.
That's right.
Which is a fancy term. What does it really mean?
Well, I believe that parents should be the ruler in the family. And I think that when parents enact the same principles or philosophies that benevolent monarchs used to, they can be really effective. So some of those principles are to be consistent, to know your subjects. That's not just your individual child, but their developmental level. What's appropriate? Parents often expose their children to things that they're not developmentally capable of handling yet. And parents have the responsibility to make decisions that are in the best interests of their kids, even if it's inconvenient for the parents or the parent needs to make a sacrifice for that.
And this is, in many ways, it sounds like probably how we grew up. I mean, those were my parents. But it's a bit of a departure from the, hey, I'm your best friend, I want to help you out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You talk about the autocratic method, which was just whatever I say goes. That's not what a lot of parents are doing. Well, some maybe. It's also not the permissive parenting.
Right, exactly.
Somewhere in the middle.
It's kind of a fusion of those two things, because neither of those is particularly effective in today's society.
It's an interesting concept. You're supposed to be a parent, basically.
Isn't that amazing?
Shocker.
It is a shock, right?
They're not sure, it's not a friendship relationship, even though they can be your friend. No. You're a parent.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the mistakes that parents make is they go into being a parent without really educating themselves on how to do that. So they think, oh, I'll be able to do it through instinct, but that's not the case.
Great. A great lesson, and nice to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you so
Julie.
much.
Thanks for coming
Nice to be here.